Recording now. So what I was saying was I really was like really kind of hesitant or whatever. I didn't know whether I should run a competition outside the app because that's, all we've been doing is running the competitions inside the app, and we are going to be running more competitions inside the app too. But I just thought, you know what? There's been loads of people asking for a competition. I kept seeing it coming up in the insiders group, and we have a huge amount of our community who are not menopausal and who are not in the app. So I thought, what the hell? Let's just run a ButtCamp competition, see how it goes. I literally put a couple of posts in the insiders group, as you guys know, like that's it. And I think we've just hit like 462 programs sold already, and I haven't even advertised it or send out emails or anything, which is just phenomenal. We would normally sell about 1,000 programs in the first day once we start sending out an email campaign and doing a Facebook ad campaign. So to sell nearly 500 programs just from a Facebook post really just shows how much you guys have wanted this, and also how much you really enjoyed the old programs that we used to run. And a lot of people are saying, I don't want it to be in the app. Like, I want a PDF. I want something I can print. And I'm really excited to give you guys that. I've been actually creating all the meal plans, just putting the final touches to them today. And we've made them so, so, so easy. I've just done them in a ready to print format. So not loads of colorful, pictures and everything, and, reams and reams of printing. I've just literally done them in a table with the macro breakdown for each ingredient, which you're going to love because everyone always asks specifically, what are you using and what are the macros for each ingredient? So every single food item has the macros for each ingredient, and then obviously recipes and stuff underneath. So I've just made them really, really simple. And I think you guys are going to love them. So, right, I think everybody who's kind of coming is here now. So I'm going to get started on the questions, and I'm going to try and get through as many as I can. But you do know me, I kind of tend to get carried away sometimes with answering the questions. But I think it's important sometimes to answer it in a really full way because you can cover like so many answers in one. Right, so Brooke Amber Bammer has the first question, and she says, I do struggle to get as low as you on things like Bulgarian split squats. Sometimes I can't get my knee to the ground. It is just very painful for my knees. If I do manage to, I'm so slow at it that you're done the move and I'm still trying to do it. Is it better to get less reps in because I can't go as fast and get as low as you, or just go as low as I physically can, even if it's not as low as you, but then get more reps and keep up with your pace? Hope that makes sense. Great question, Brooke. So, the reason so short answer, it's actually better to go slower and do less reps with full range of motion if you can. So one of the things I've been teaching with the programs that I have been, or the workouts I've been teaching inside the app, because for those of you who don't know, I have been only exclusively working out with dumbbells from home since March this year. So I have not been to the gym since March. Well, that's not true. I have been, and we have a gym at home. So sometimes if I couldn't get doing dumbbells, I do go in and do a quick workout, but very rarely. Most of everything I'm doing is with the dumbbells. And so what I realized recently with the women in the app who've been doing these programs is the reason they've been getting like such phenomenal results, and they really have, like, these programs have been getting, the dumbbell workouts with me have been getting such incredible results for the women. And I couldn't figure out why it was, or I was trying to get to the bottom of why it was, but it's kind of two main reasons. The first one is that the workouts are, well, maybe three reasons actually. The first one is the workouts are only 30 minutes long, so they're very doable, right? Anyone can do something for 30 minutes. You click it on, I tell you what I'm going to do for a couple of minutes. I'm getting faster and faster and faster at recording and explaining. And then we do the workout, and the workout is usually 30 to 40 minutes, 40 minutes tops, right? Very rarely goes over 40 minutes. So it's really, really quick, really doable. Second reason is that you don't have to leave your house to do it. You can roll onto your, floor, wherever you're doing your workouts, in your pajamas, pick up a couple of dumbbells, and you're good to go. And I bought these really heavy dumbbells for my set that I keep in the studio, and I've hardly used any of the heavy dumbbells because honestly, I'm doing most of the workouts with like 15-kilogram dumbbell. Sometimes slightly heavier ones for the RDLs, the Romanian deadlifts and things, but apart from that, I'm just using light dumbbells because they are so effective at getting good results without having heavy dumbbells. So, and that leads me into the third reason why they're getting really good results is because whenever a lot of women are now training truly to failure in a way that they haven't been up until now. So over the years, if you guys have been with me for a long time, which many of you have, you've heard me go on and on and on about training to failure, right? You have to train to failure. I didn't know what training to failure was until I met Mark Getty. And when I met Mark Getty and he taught me how to train to failure, everything changed for me. And so I've been really trying to teach you in every single way I can what training to failure is and should be. I've done it in videos, I've done it in demos, I've done it in writing, I've done it in posts, I've done it in Q&As, constantly trying to explain what training to failure is. But it's very hard to actually truly explain to someone what training to failure is without being there physically with them. And that has never been possible until now. But what is happening now is because I'm teaching the workouts and you're doing them along with me, women are now actually going to failure in a way that they never have before, and then going a little bit beyond failure. Because what's happening in the workouts is that we're not focusing on reps. It's not about, 3 sets with 12 reps or about, 4 sets with 8 reps. You're not ever trying to get to a certain number of reps. We're going in timed sets, which are usually 1 minute per set. And it's not as many reps as you can get done. It's full range of motion to complete as many reps as you can with full range of motion within 1 minute. And so I would have been guilty in the past, and I had this realization myself when I was training, doing the dumbbells. I would have been guilty in the past on sacrificing my form on the final set, or sometimes even on the second set of an exercise, just to get to the number of reps. So maybe in a glute bridge or a hip thrust, I wouldn't quite have gone as deep as I needed to, drop the hips enough, and wouldn't maybe have thrusted and held at the top. I just was kind of, counting 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, trying to get the reps done. Whereas I don't do that at all anymore. I make sure that every single rep is performed as perfectly as can be, full range of motion. And so if you can do full range of motion, it's better that you do full range of motion, because when you take the muscle through the full stretch and then into the full squeeze, you are putting much more strain on the muscle. You're ripping many more muscle fibers, and you are pushing the muscle to failure faster than if you do half reps. So muscle responds to stimulus. Muscle grows whenever you stimulate it. And then whenever you stimulate it beyond what it can currently do, it will grow even more. So whenever you're focusing on full range of motion, full depth and full reps, and you're not worried about, do I need to get to 10? Do I need to get to 12? I have to get to 15. It's just, how many can I perform in this set? Something magical happens. And I find myself doing this all the time. Let's say I'm doing Bulgarian lunges or Bulgarian split squats, and I'm teaching them. And I have a, say, 115 kilogram, or what's that, 35 pound, is it 35? Yeah, about 35 pound dumbbell in my hand. And I get quite often to say 30 seconds in, right? And I glance at the timer and I'm like, shit, another 30 seconds left. And so I do another rep and then I pause, and maybe my quad is burning, right? My quad wants me to stop, wants me to give up, but I'm like, can I do another one? I'm like, so I go all the way down, touch the knee, all the way back up. And then I look at the clock, oh my God, another 15 seconds. So I go, can I do another one? So I go all the way down and all the way back up. And so what's happening is I'm going to the failure point. I'm going to the point where my body is saying, stop. Like my muscles are screaming, ah, we can't do this. Like my muscles are burning. They want me to stop. I'm at that failure point. And then I'm pausing for a second and then doing another one. And then I'm like, oh my God, my glute. Oh my God, my quad. And the girls will tell you in the videos, I'm like, oh, like start singing and everything. I'm like, oh my God. Like I'm really struggling. And I pause for a second and then I go again and I do another rep. That's what training to failure truly is. It's going to the edge of your comfort zone where you really want to give up and then doing another rep, and then pausing and teetering on the edge and then doing another rep, and then glancing at the clock, and or maybe you hear me say 8 seconds and you think, I've got one more, right? And you do one more. And it's those 3 extra reps that you're doing with me, because you're not aiming for 10 or 12 or 15 or 8. You're not aiming for an arbitrary number. You're just aiming to complete another rep with full range of motion, another rep with full range of motion, another rep with full range of motion. That's you going to failure, pausing, and then going beyond failure, pausing, going beyond failure. And so what I realized was, when women were training in the gym before using my gym programs, thinking they were training to failure, they weren't. They were training to the point where I've just described, where their muscle was burning, their quad was burning, it got hard, and then they stopped. Okay. Or they were like, oh, I'm only at 8 reps. I need another two. So they do 2 half reps because getting to 10 was important. So those 2 half reps were really worth nothing. Okay. So that's why this training is so effective because we go to failure, pause, do another one. So we go beyond failure, failure, pause, do another one, beyond failure. So the muscles are getting stimulated in a way that they never have before, and their muscles are growing and the fat is burning. They're getting stronger, and women are literally getting more results using these dumbbells at home than they ever have before. And it isn't because the dumbbell workouts are so much more effective. It's not like, these are far better than lifting heavy in the gym. They're far better than lifting heavy in the gym if someone isn't going to failure lifting heavy in the gym. So if you had to stack the three different types of training in terms of effectiveness, what you would say is in the gym with heavy load, truly training to failure and beyond is still the most superior way to train, to build muscle fast. But the second and most superior way to, the more people in the waiting room, the second and most and really superior way to build more muscle is to go to failure with more reps. So more load to failure and beyond failure and most effective, more reps to failure and beyond failure, second most effective. That's what we're doing here in these dumbbell workouts. And then the third effective way is kind of doing them with just body weight or no weight at all, but still going to failure and going beyond. So although everyone was going to the gym and thinking they were lifting heavy and going to failure, they were maybe lifting heavy, but they weren't going to failure. So it just wasn't as effective. Whereas this way, in this middle tier, we're now truly going to failure with weights. And that is getting far, far, far better results because it's not the weight that gets the results. It's not the machine that gets the results. It's not the exercise that gets the results. It's the failure that gets results. Going to failure and going beyond failure with another rep or two or three is truly the fastest, most effective way to build muscle. So to answer your question, Brooke, what you should do is exactly what you've been doing. Don't worry about keeping up with me. You don't have to do the same amount of reps that I'm doing. And in fact, I don't even expect anyone to do, keep up with me and do the reps that I'm doing. I expect you to be focusing on your own body, your own journey, and doing as many reps as you can do with a full range of motion. I might do 15 in a 60-second set. You might do 8 in a 60-second set. Doesn't matter. If 8 with full depth and full range of motion to failure is your edge, then that is what will cause your body to build muscle. Make it sense? Okay, perfect. Really, really good question. Lorraine is asking, I'm trying to decide whether to go to the gym or do the follow along workouts. What dumbbells, bands, and equipment will I need if I do the follow along? So with the follow along workouts, you really don't need a lot of equipment. So definitely you're going to want a glute band or two. We're actually going to link to some in the customer hub that you can purchase. The ones that I use are actually I use different range of ones. I have ones from Brett Contreras, BC Strength ones. They're really good. I have ones that we developed ourselves years ago for the Sculpted Vegan, which we never actually ended up selling very many of because the company that we used in China was supposed to give us them in 3 different strengths. But what they did was they gave us 3 different colors and not different strengths. And we had a whole shit show with them. And we ended up with black, dark gray, and light gray booty bands that were all the same strength. So we ended up not even being able to sell them, but I do still use them, but they are quite stretchy. So you want the material ones that are quite thick. You don't want the rubber ones, if you can help it, because they will just drag on your legs. You do want the material ones if you have them. And as far as weights, I mean, if you're going to do all of the workouts from home, even, the upper body ones, it depends on how strong you are. Usually for legs, I will hold a dumbbell in each hand for the Romanian deadlifts and the dumbbell deadlifts, but I'm very, very strong in these. So I will usually hold about 20 to 25 kilos each hand. So that's 44 pounds to what's 25 kilos? 25 multiplied by 2.2, 55 pounds. Yeah, I thought it was. So I will hold 44 to 55 pounds in each hand. But you may not be quite as strong as that, okay? You might, especially whenever we're going for 1 minute at a time, 2 22-pound dumbbells might be okay for you, 1 in each hand. So if someone is a beginner or kind of at the start of their journey, I would say if you have a set of, say, 3 dumbbells, So you had a light, a medium, and a slightly more heavy. Like that's all you're going to need. So let's say you had a set of 5 pound dumbbells, 12 pound dumbbells, and then maybe one heavier set, which would be like maybe 22 pounds or maybe 32.5, something like that. That's really all you're going to need, a set of three. Now, if you're going to be doing hip thrusts, a heavy dumbbell or a barbell does help. I use a barbell sometimes. Sometimes I set a big heavy dumbbell, like 40 kilo dumbbell, which is 88 pounds on my hips. But if you don't have that, don't worry, because I'm going to be giving loads of different variations. You can put a booty band around your knees, force your knees out against the glute band, and then just put a dumbbell on your hips, and you can do the hip thrusts that way. And let me tell you, the way I teach them, they burn. Sometimes that's all I do for hip thrusts. And if I'm ever hip thrusting with a barbell, I have 50, 60 kilos on it. That's it. Like I used to hip thrust 260 kilograms, which is about 600 pounds. That's what I used to hip thrust in the gym, right? I don't do that anymore. I am literally thrusting 60 kilos, which is about 130 pounds. That's it. That's all I'm hip thrusting. In fact, I need to find out what it is. I have to get really good with these numbers off the top of my head. I'm getting about 132 pounds. Like that's what all I'm hip thrusting now. So you really don't need a lot of weight to do them at home. And even if you don't have a lot of weight for the upper body, I mean, a friend of mine messaged me the other day. She said, Kim, I was doing your workouts and I really didn't think I was going to be able to do it because I didn't have heavy enough dumbbells. I only had 5 pound dumbbells. She said, but oh my God, my shoulders were screaming. So she's doing, shoulder presses. She was like, my shoulders were screaming with 5 pound dumbbells because of how slow and controlled you do them and because of, the way that we're going full range of motion. She said, I never would have thought I could have got an effective workout with dumbbells that are so light. And I loved hearing that. So I promise, even if you're used to lifting heavy in the gym, you will be stunned and humbled by how little you need to lift in these home workouts to actually make them effective. I really do. I'm a very seasoned athlete, as you know, and I really do not lift very heavy. So just whatever you've got is totally fine. I promise I'm going to make it really, really, really tough. And we're going to be doing a lot with the glute band as well. Cheryl Smith, do you recommend fasted cardio for fat loss? I'm post-menopause and I kept seeing information that fasted cardio wasn't recommended for post-menopausal women and I was struggling to gain lean muscle or even maintain it. So I switched to eating before all workouts beginning of this year, but I still haven't made much progress with body recomposition. I upped my protein intake to 1 gram per pound of body weight also. So Cheryl, this is a really good question and I'm kind of going to split it into a couple of parts for you. Fasted cardio, okay, first thing I want to say is most people these days are getting their information from TikTok or Instagram. You need to stop, okay? You need to stop doing that. Like seriously, you have these pseudoscientists or sometimes real scientists or doctors coming on and giving short bites, like 1 minute pieces of information on TikTok that are going viral or on Instagram. Everybody's watching them and everyone's going, oh my God, like I've heard like Stacey Sims say that women shouldn't be cold plunging. And I'm like, all women everywhere in the world at all ages shouldn't be cold. Like every single woman in the world is exactly the same. And they're like, no, maybe not, Same as like, post-menopausal women shouldn't be doing fasted cardio. Who said? Like, have they done studies? Is there gold standard medical studies being done on hundreds of postmenopausal women who are in like with a placebo group and a fasted group and a non-fasted group? No. What's usually happened is one PT or one scientist has taken one data set and seen a link between something or other and then implied causality, not causation, and said, oh well, because this link exists, maybe women in postmenopause shouldn't be doing this, right? And then that goes out on Instagram or TikTok and everyone believes that this is the way it should be from now on. So here is my experience from coaching 500,000 women in the last 10 years. Doesn't matter a damn. Do fasted cardio, do unfasted cardio, do fasted training, do non-fasted training, eat before training, eat after training, eat during training if you want to. It doesn't matter an iota. Right? It doesn't make any difference in the long run. These tiny little things that you hear on Instagram and TikTok don't apply to the average woman. If you are an athlete at the very top of your game with every single tiny detail of your training and nutrition dialed in with a coach who's checking in on you every single day and you're monitoring your heart rate, you're monitoring your blood glucose, you're monitoring your fasting metabolic rate and you're monitoring your heart rate and you're monitoring your resting heart rate and your cardio heart rate and your fat burning heart rate, and you're like going for the Olympics and you have every single tiny little detail dialed in, then maybe you could look at whether you should do fasted cardio or not fasted cardio. Okay? Because maybe it might give you that tiny little incremental competitive advantage to push you over the finishing line a 100th of a second faster than your competitor. For the average woman, it's all bullshit. Really, it doesn't matter. We get so hung up on, all of these supplements we should be taking. And people ask me constantly on Instagram, I keep hearing about the benefits of creatine. Do you take creatine? I'm like, no, I don't take creatine. And they're like, why not? But you're postmenopausal. Postmenopausal women should take creatine. I'm like, says who? Like, I don't know that there has been a lot of studies done on creatine, but I am lean, I am muscular, I am energetic, I sleep well, I'm one of the healthiest people I know, and yet I don't take creatine. Hasn't given me, and whenever I took it, all it did was make me bloated. It made me hold on to a huge amount of water weight, which I didn't like because it made my clothes feel tight, and I didn't notice any benefit in my sleep or my brain health or my thinking health or whatever, or my strength in the gym. Like I monitor everything in my life, and adding creatine did not make one damn bit of difference. But I think that the thing is we get so hung up on because whenever we decide that we want to change our body, we want to lose body fat, we want to build muscle, we want to do all these things, we want to do all the things, right? All the things, because I want the fastest results possible. I have decided I'm going to do this thing, and I've decided I'm going to lose this weight, and I'm going to build this muscle, and God damn it, I want to do it as fast as I possibly can. So I'm gonna look at everything that I can do, and I'm going to not do cardio fasted, and I'm going to make sure that I take creatine in the morning, and I'm going to make sure that I get up in the morning and I drink a liter of water to make sure I'm hyperhydrated before I'm early in the morning, before I get up in the morning, and then I'm definitely going to drink this tea because it raises your metabolism. And then I heard that you're supposed to take caffeine tablets, so I'm going to take those as well, but I'm not going to eat after 8 p.m. at night. I've considered doing intermittent fasting, and I think that might work, but I'm not sure how that'll work with eating before training, which I've heard is better for my results. And I'll go and try that first, and then I'll try the intermittent fasting, and then I'll try the not eating after 8 p.m. But then I'm supposed to eat protein before bed because that's supposed to build your muscle. But then how can I do that if I'm not eating after 8 p.m.? And then we have a complete meltdown. Okay? None of it matters. None of it. So, Cheryl, if you want to lose 30, you said you're at 30% body fat and you want to lose body fat. Here is what will cause you to lose body fat. ButtCamp 3. Okay? Why will this program cause you to lose body fat? Because we are dialing in your nutrition. We're doing daily cardio 6 days a week, and we're doing 5 days a week strength training. We are taxing your metabolic system. We are reducing your calorie intake below what your calorie output, we're increasing your calorie output above what your calorie input is. So your body will use fat as an energy source. And we're going to do it consistently for 8 weeks. The only thing that burns body fat is tracking your macros and calories. Doesn't matter. Yes. Does cardio burn body fat? Yes. Does, doing training burn body fat? Yes. But it doesn't do it in a consistent, measurable, trackable way. The only thing that causes someone's body composition to change is deciding on a training program and sticking to it for a long ass period of time. How long? A year. People are like, a year? Yes, minimum, right? Minimum a year. In 3 years, you'll have a different body. In a year, you'll start to notice changes. In 8 weeks, yeah, you'll lose some body fat and you'll look at your glutes and you go, wow, I look great. Are you going to have a completely different body in 8 weeks? No. No, it's just the start, right? So the only thing that gets people from A to B is tracking their macros and calories, making small adjustments over periods of time, not daily, not weekly, like monitoring your photos every 2 weeks to make sure you're on the right track, that you're not putting on body fat or losing too much body fat, and then staying consistent with that tracking for a long, 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 long period of time. That is what gets you results. But unfortunately, it's a little bit boring. Like it's a little bit, in fact, it's a lot boring, right? So we don't want to do the long, boring slog. We've decided we want to change our body and we want to change it now, God damn it. So tell me, Kim, the magic creatine and the magic fasting schedule and the magic cardio schedule that I can do to make my results go faster because I'm impatient, right? So this is like my message. This is the message I've been preaching for the last 10 years. But yeah, that's all you need to do, Cheryl, is you need to start tracking your macros and calories. And you haven't said that you have been tracking your macros and calories here. So if you come back and tell me after watching this that you have been tracking them, then I can look at this question again. And my next question would be, right, well, what have your macros been? You said you've recently upped your protein intake to 1 gram per pound of body weight, but I would like to know how much is your daily protein intake currently? How many carbs are you eating? How much fat are you eating? What are your calories? And how consistent have you been with those calories over what period of time? Because what I find when I question people is they're like loosey-goosey, right? They're like, well, kind of been tracking, just been tracking my protein, not really looking at anything else. And you're not going to get results that way, right? You're just not, unfortunately. Consistency is key. Laurie, lovely Laurie, which program would you recommend to prepare for ButtCamp 3? I will finish Carve next week. Laurie, any of them. There's really not any one program I would recommend. I mean, Carve was pretty brutal, as you know. So if it were me and I had to choose, I would probably go back to the start of Carve again. Really, especially for the glute and hamstring, or sorry, the quad and glute workout that was in it. Those leg days, as you know, were pretty brutal. So if you wanted to build stronger legs and stronger glutes and really, prepare your muscles for the onslaught of glute work coming, then I would probably go back to the start of Fierce again. I have to be honest. So that's what I would do. But I guess my answer really is just choose whichever one was your favorite. Whichever one was your favorite, whichever one brings you joy and makes you want to get out of bed in the morning, click play on that workout. That's the one that you choose. Because, if you look forward to training, well, look forward. Does anyone actually ever look forward to training? But if you kind of look forward to training, it really is helpful. Sheila Wiora, are there certain stretches we can do that are better than others? So Sheila, I'm gonna tell you something that shocks a lot of people, right? I don't stretch. I never stretch. I would go so far as to say I don't believe in stretching. That's not true. I do believe in stretching. I am a former yoga teacher. I do believe that stretching is good. However, you should never stretch a cold muscle, which is what a lot of people do. And there's really no point in stretching your muscles after training because your muscles are already inflamed and broken and the muscle fibers are already torn. So stretching them at that point really doesn't help. It doesn't make any difference to your muscle soreness. It doesn't make any difference to the fascia on your muscle. The fascia on your muscle has already been like, let's think about it. So you're doing a glute workout, right? Let's say there's squats and lunges and there's some hip thrusts and that kind of stuff, and now you do some stretching work for your hips and you go into say pigeon pose or you do some kind of other stretching work. Well, the muscles on your glutes and in your hip area have already been stretched the whole time during the workout. So stretching them again at the end of the workout might feel good, but it doesn't actually make any difference. So rather than kind of stretching, I would recommend that in order to just feel good and keep your body limber and keep the fascia on the surface of your muscle nice and, pliable and stretched, just do some yoga or some Pilates. That's what I would recommend. But really, if you're training the way we're training, you actually genuinely don't need to do a lot of stretching because, every single day I'm lunging. Well, not every day, but every week, several times a week, I'm lunging. And a lunge is part of a yoga class, like doing a deep lunge. It stretches the hip flexors, it stretches the hamstrings, it stretches the hip area. So you don't really need to do any more lunges than you're doing as long as you're going to your full depth with full range of motion. Like you're stretching, doing lunging twice a week. Same with, Romanian deadlifts. Romanian deadlifts are literally a hamstring stretch. That's what they are. So I have very flexible hamstrings, even though I don't teach or practice yoga anymore because I do millions of RDLs. So my hamstrings are getting really, really well stretched. Same with, your shoulders. Like I'm constantly, doing chest work, right? So I'm stretching and opening the front of my body. I'm stretching my arms, whenever I'm doing pressing work and whenever I'm doing Back work, I'm allowing my arm to be pulled, my lat to be pulled right out of the socket here, right? So it's being pulled right forward, and then I'm pulling right in. I'm stretching my back, I'm stretching the front of my shoulder. You know, whenever you do the workouts properly with full range of motion, your entire body is getting stretched. So you really don't need to do any extra stretching, and never stretch a cold muscle because you can actually hurt it more than you can help it. Make sure your body is super warmed up before you do any kind of stretching. But I would go so far as to say stretching is really not necessary unless you are aiming for full splits, or you want to become a contortionist, or you want to do some kind of, workout which requires a hell of a lot of flexibility. For general day-to-day work, you're getting enough stretching in the workouts that we're doing. I can promise you. I am living proof of that. Kaylee Meister, can you break down the training split, please? Yes, I can. So here's the thing. I don't actually know what we're going to be doing because I don't ever really plan the workouts too far in advance, because especially with this kind of workout, what I do first of all is I say, okay, who's joined? What kind of stage are they at? What have they been doing? Are they seasoned trainers? Are they not? Like, how complex or hard would I make the exercises? So the training split, I think at the minute, is going to be 3 lower body days and 2 upper body days. So 5 days a week. So it doesn't matter when you do the workouts. It doesn't have to be Monday to Friday. As long as you fit in 5 workouts in a 7-day period, doesn't matter when you take your rest days. So I don't want to not do upper body. But 3 glute days is really all you need. So one of the glute days, I'm going to make sure that there's quad work involved in the glute work. And then the other glute day is going to be glute and hamstring work. So there's going to be hamstring thrown into it. And then the other glute day is just going to be pure glutes. So in order to build the glutes effectively, you have to work them on the horizontal plane, the diagonal plane, the horizontal plane, the diagonal plane, and the vertical plane. Okay. So you have to work them in 3 different ways. So the exercises that we're going to build on each week are going to work all sides of the glutes. They're going to work the glute maximus, the glute medius, and the glute minimus, which you don't actually see, which is a deep muscle right inside the hip area. So we're going to work on all different sides of the glutes. 3 glute days, 2 upper body days, I think is all we're going to need. And let me tell you, you're going to be so glad to not have a glute day on those 2 upper body days. But the 2 upper body days are going to use compound movements to work all the major muscle groups. So you're going to work shoulders, biceps, triceps, and back in the 2 days, the 2 upper body days. And I promise you, you're going to burn so much fat. You're going to build so much muscle. You're going to get so strong. My programming is very effective, maximum bang for your buck, lots of time to recover. I've actually started like alternating exercises now. So I'm doing chest and back together. So we do back, then chest, then back, then chest, then back, then chest, which means that your back is always getting a bit of a break while the chest is going. And then, the chest is getting a break while the back is going. Same with, shoulders and biceps, or shoulders and triceps. So my programming has become very efficient and very effective, because what you have to remember is I'm a bodybuilder, right? I'm a trained bodybuilder who trained in the gym. I have found a lot of the online trainers that I've been looking at, a lot of the women trainers who train at home with dumbbells, have not come from a bodybuilder background. This is one thing I've noticed. And so their workouts are, they're just not very effective. It's not that they're not effective. They are effective, but they're not focused on muscle building the way mine are. Like, so a girl here who lives in Belfast, a girl called Caroline Gervin, lovely girl. And she is slightly younger than me, but she's a massive YouTube channel. She became really big during COVID. And I have, watched quite a lot of her workouts on YouTube. And you can tell that Caroline she's from like a cardio background, so like an athlete background. I think she was an ultra runner, or I think she did like, what do you call it? Not ultra running, she did triathlons, right? So I think she was a triathlete. So a lot of her programming is really high intensity, short rest breaks, maximum heart rate, really what I would say isn't the best for muscle building, but is really good for fat burning and really good for conditioning. So a lot of her workouts are very conditioning. They build strong, compact muscle fibers, but don't focus on building bigger muscles, which is what I'm interested in. Now, just as a side note, you're never going to build huge muscles at home with the dumbbells that we're using. It's just not physically possible. Also, we're women. We don't have the hormones that men have to enable us to build a lot of muscle. But whenever I watch Caroline's workouts, it's almost like, runners or marathon runners, they don't have big muscular legs. but they have really strong legs because the muscle fibers are dense and tight and compacted. But so they have really, really, really strong legs. And if you put them on a leg press, I bet you they could leg press like 100 reps of a heavy weight because they've strong, compact, dense muscle fibers. But you wouldn't look at their legs and go, oh my God, she has a beautiful set of legs. I'm sure loads of runners do have a beautiful set of legs, but they don't have, defined quadriceps. They don't have lovely big full glutes. Okay. So whenever I look at Caroline, she looks like a triathlete, right? And she obviously loves that look. And there's loads of women want to look like her. But my goal whenever I program is always, how can I replicate the results I got in the gym, but at home? How can I bring those same muscle building tendencies from the gym into a home workout in 30 minutes with light dumbbells? That was my challenge. And I definitely think I've managed to achieve it. Like anyone who's been doing my workouts on YouTube or in the app will tell you, I think I've finally nailed it now. I'm now 1, 2, 3, 4 challenges in to doing this way, and I really feel like I've nailed it. So the programming is going to be 3 glute days, 3 lower body days, 2 upper body days, and then there's going to be a cardio workout. So there's going to be cardio 6 days a week, but then the cardio workout that I want you to do on the weekend or on your day off, will be a kind of a full body strength and conditioning cardio workout. So you'll probably do that with light dumbbells. And so you're going to be kind of working, every part of the body just to really finish it off for the week. And then you'll get 1 full rest day a week. Or if you're a bit glutton for punishment, or you're like, I'm going for the prize money, then you might want to do an extra bit of cardio or whatever on that day. Completely up to you. Okay. Love these questions. So good. Ali Eccleston, will you provide macros for the meal plan so we can make our own if needed? I'm gluten-free, so sadly I can't always do the meal plans to a T. Ali, we are most definitely going to provide the macros. So I'll tell you how we're doing it now. We're actually, let me see if I can pull one up for you. How I've done the workout, how I've done the meal plans is I've put everything into a table, all the meal plans into a table with the macros for each food item. And then the recipes are underneath. So I will show you exactly what it looks like. I wonder, can I make that smaller? Turn it sideways, maybe. Hang on. Oh yeah, there. So this is one of the meal plans that I'm working on at the minute. So you can see how it's all in a table. So it has the name, and then it has, the ingredient, and then it has it in metric, imperial, not in cups, and then calories, proteins, carbs, and fats. You see that? So then if you scroll down, it's very hard to do this and see it. So it has every single food item that is in that breakfast with all of the amounts in both grams and ounces, and the macros and calories there on the side with the totals for the day. So you can see there 339, 30, 33. So it gives you the totals for each day. So this is how I have done the meal plans in these tables. And then all the recipes are underneath. So, and this is how we're going to present them, okay? We're literally going to present them in such a way that they are, I need to go back to the question. We're going to present them in such a way that you can literally print them really easily and really quickly, because I don't want anyone to have to go to like a print shop and print like 52 pages of recipes. I want to make these super simple. My goal for this program was to make it so simple you couldn't fail. So there is no 100-page PDF to download and read, and you must read it 3 times, right? There's none of that. There's no complicated, there's no like 1-pagers for every single thing. Everything is really simple. In your customer hub, there's going to be a video at the top from me, and it'll probably be quite a long video. So I'm going to be like, you need to sit down and watch this video in entirety and sit down and take notes. So I reckon the video is probably going to be about 30 minutes, and I'm going to explain every aspect of the program to you in a video. So it's not like millions of videos you have to watch. It's not, all of this information you have to consume and sit down and figure out a time to do it, because it's, and it's going to be overwhelming. It's literally commit 30 minutes to watching this video at a time of your convenience and write down notes. And then we're going to have the meal plans underneath in the customer hub, and we'll have like the link to join the Facebook group, access the workouts, which will be on a playlist. And then we will literally have the meal plans and the supplement guide. And I wasn't even going to have a supplement guide. I was like, they don't need supplements. You literally don't need supplements. But then I thought, if I don't put a supplement guide in, everyone will be like, where's the supplement? Everybody loves to take a supplement. They always think that it'll help them achieve their goal faster. It won't, by the way. But anyway, so I decided, okay, because there'll be a lot of complaining if it's not there, I'll put it in. So we made a supplement guide too. And that's it. That's all that's in the hub. It's like, click here to go to your workouts, click here to download your meal plans, boom, we're done. The way I've done the meal plans as well is you have you can choose from 4 different meal plans. So weeks 1 to 4, they're all the same calorie count. So it's 1,500 calories in week 1 to 4. Then it goes to 1,400 calories in weeks 5 and 6, and then 1,200 calories in weeks 7 and 8. So you can intermix the meal plans, not breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but you can choose, to do meal plan 1, meal plan 2, meal plan 3, meal plan 4. Completely up to you. Okay. So it gives loads of variety. And again, you can interchange weeks 5 and 6 and interchange weeks 7 and 8. I want to make it as easy as possible. So yes, I'm definitely going to give the macros and calories. Right, what else have we got? Karen Chimes Mellon, wondering, will there be any accommodations for knee injuries? And if you think someone with a knee injury could get great results too. Also, what will be happening, if anything, inside the Sculpted Menopause app while this ButtCamp 3 is going on? So Karen, nothing new will be happening inside the Menopause app while this is going on. But the app is complete in and of itself. There's everything you need there: gym workouts, home workouts, follow along workouts, meal plan, so the app is not going to be I'm not going to be teaching like new live challenges in the app like forevermore every single month. That's not how the app was designed to be. The app was designed to be a living, breathing organism in and of itself, with new challenges dropping kind of 4 times a year. But I've just been putting a hell of a lot of effort into creating content for it, which is why I've been doing all these new challenges. So nothing specific will be happening in there while this challenge is going on. And will there be accommodations for knee injuries? Well, yes, as much as possible. And so what I will do in the very beginning is I will give you options for if you can't do a specific exercise. And really, I'm not going to be able to give an alternate exercise, because if I'm teaching these workouts live and you're doing them along with me. And so if I'm doing, say, if I'm doing a lunge, at any time I'm teaching at the minute, if there's a lunge and you can't lunge, you will do a Romanian deadlift instead. And I will show how to do that. So instead of a lunge, anyone who cannot lunge will be doing loads of Romanian deadlifts, which are amazing for the hamstrings and glutes. Not so good for the quads, but amazing for the hamstrings and glutes. So you will have an alternative where I can give you one. But the problem is everybody has unique injuries, and so some people will be able to lunge but not squat. Some people will be able to squat but not lunge. Some people will be able to do this exercise, but not this exercise. And I couldn't give an alternative for every single injury, which of course you understand. It goes without saying, but I will give as many as I possibly can. And for anyone who cannot squat, again, you will be doing some kind of squat variation. So what I say to people who can't squat is, if you cannot squat, you bring your feet into the position that I am telling you to bring them into, and you are literally going to bend as much as you can, stick your butt back, and do a deadlift, a dumbbell deadlift, or a RDL, Romanian deadlift variation. And also we use a lot of heel wedges. So a lot of times people who can't squat actually find that they can do a lot more in my programs, because we actually lift up the heels quite high. We lift up the heels in order to access the quads or to target a different area of the legs. And quite often people who can't squat do my workouts and go, actually, I could do them. That's weird. But it's only because their heels were lifted up quite high on the wedges. So you may find that you will be able to do a lot of the exercises that you thought you couldn't do before. And you may find that you get stronger, but I will give variations where I can. Kate Marie, I would love some input or insight on managing expectations. It's always so easy to look at someone else's progress and then dismiss my own. Kate, here's the thing about expectations, okay? I always say expectations lead to disappointment. If you have never completed an 8-week challenge before that is a ButtCamp challenge, you do not know what is possible for your body. So it's easy to look at someone else's results and say, oh my God, that was possible, for me, but I didn't achieve that. You're like, well, maybe it was possible, maybe it wasn't. What I find is the winners of the big cash prizes in the past went way beyond what anyone else did in order to win the prizes. So if you ask any of the winners of our past challenges, they will tell you they hired personal trainers. They did extra cardio. Not every single one hired a personal trainer, whatever, but they didn't deviate from the meal plan. They prepped on a Sunday. They got babysitters in to take care of their kids while they were, so they could go and train 3 times a day or whatever. They went the extra mile all the time. And so sometimes then someone who didn't go the extra mile and kind of only followed the food plan about 80% and did, as much of the workouts as they could, but they probably could have gone a bit heavier or maybe could have put in a wee bit more effort. And then they compare their results to someone who literally did 150% and they go, well, that's not fair. Why did I not get those results? What I always say is the results that you get are the results you deserve. If you put in 80% of the work, you'll get 80% of the results. If you put in 50%, you'll get 50%. But the one thing I will tell you, which is consistent across the board, Kate, and we see it in every single competition, is the ones who get the best results followed the meal plan 100%. They didn't deviate, they didn't switch. They didn't say, well, I don't really like tempeh. Can I have tofu? They didn't say, well, it's Taco Tuesday, so can I have tacos? Like they didn't like have preferences. People are like, well, I don't really like tofu. Like I'll eat it if I have to, but can I have like Beyond Meat instead? You're like, no, you can't. Well, you can, but you can't, you can't, not that you can't change the meal plan. You can't change the meal plan and expect the same results. And so the one thing I will say is if you follow the plan exactly, and if you follow the meal plan to the letter, then you will know at the end of 8 weeks what results are possible if you follow the plan. I always said whenever I was competing on stage, I never wanted to get to the stage and say, I wish I hadn't had that bag of popcorn. I mean, it's so stupid because popcorn will not throw you off your game in any like okay, I'll tell you the story. I remember going to the cinema one night. It was my 2018 competition. I was shredded, right? And I was absolutely miserable. It was the hardest shred I've ever done in my entire life. I was miserable. I was starving. I was on so many fat burners. I was jittery all the time. It was awful. And my son asked me to take him to the cinema one night. Took the kids to the cinema. And I was absolutely starving. And I just went, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to have a bag of popcorn or a box of popcorn. And I had a box of popcorn and I sat and ate it and it was absolutely delicious. And then I suffered with so much guilt afterwards. I was like, oh my God, what if this box of popcorn is the reason I'm fat on stage? Like it was so ridiculous, right? But your mind just gets completely warped whenever you're trying to fit into a sparkly thong and standing on stage. I stood on stage the leanest I've ever been in my entire life. Like I was shredded to the bone. I had veins running all over me. I still didn't have really defined and muscular legs, but that's because I didn't have enough muscle in my legs. And also I'm a pear shape. My body holds the weight in my legs. It's funny now, all these years of training later, I've been training now for 10 years. Now my legs get shredded whenever I diet, but then they didn't. So I stood on stage and I look back at those photos and I go, I can't believe I sat in the cinema and beat myself up over having a box of popcorn, a small portion of popcorn, worried that I wouldn't be shredded for the stage. But but I've always remembered it because I look back now and I think how silly it was because of course I was so lean, one thing of popcorn and I was on diet. Like I never broke my diet. So that was never going to, not be lean on stage. But I always remember it because I remember worrying, was this one thing going to throw me off? Now, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. One bag of popcorn or one box of popcorn at the cinema is not I was doing a shred for like 14 weeks. I think that was the only thing I ever had off plan. That's not going to completely derail my progress. I know that now. But for someone who's doing the meal plan and who's constantly having a little bit of this or changing a little bit of this, or another thing that I did, another mistake I made very earlier on when I was competing for the stage was I used to eyeball the amount of milk that I was using, like oat milk in my coffees. And I would be like, nah, I think that's about 50 mils. I don't think that's about 25 mils. I think that's about whatever. And then the next year, whenever I started shredding, I was like, my trainer was like, measure everything. And I started measuring and I started realizing, oh wow, I'd been massively overestimating the amount of, or underestimating the amount of milk I was using and the amount of calories. And I'd been adding hundreds of extra calories a day inadvertently through drinking coffee. So it's little things like that. Peanut butter. You never eyeball peanut butter. If it says a tablespoon, you don't gouge a tablespoon out and go, oh, I think that's about a tablespoon. No, you put the peanut butter on the scale and you scoop out 15 grams. And that is your allocated amount of peanut butter. You don't go in for an extra little dip or whatever, right? This is where people make mistakes with the meal plans. They don't measure little things like milk, little things like their, I think, oh, sure, it doesn't matter. I only have 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day or 2 or 3 cups of tea. I only use a splash of milk. Those splashes of milk 3 times a day add up over 8 weeks. Eyeballing your protein or your peanut butter adds up over 8 weeks. Another thing people don't do is measure their protein. You have to weigh your protein. You don't go, well, I think that's about a scoop. You put the protein powder, the full box on the scale, you set it to 0 and you scoop out 25 grams. You must measure everything. And when you measure everything, you will get to the end of the 8 weeks and you will say, oh, here is what is possible. I did everything. I measured everything. I made all the meals. I didn't substitute. Or if I did substitute, it was a perfect macro substitute because I checked the macros and I checked the macros in MyFitnessPal and this was a good substitute. You get to the end of the weeks and you say, when I follow this particular plan at 4 weeks at 1,500 calories, 2 at 1,400, 2 at 1,200, and I do this amount of exercise, this is what happens. So now you have a benchmark for your unique body as to what happens to your body when you follow this plan. And then you can start to mix. So let's say you said, well, I'm going to go back to the start and redo the plan. Let's say you didn't get the results. Maybe you wanted more results. Okay, well, what would happen if I redid the plan and instead of starting on 1,500 calories, I started on 1,400 calories? And then you get to experiment again and say, well, would I have lost more weight? What if I added in an extra cardio session? What if I did a 30-minute cardio session with Kim and a 30-minute walk? What would happen? Did you see what I'm saying? So the results you get will be a kind of a surprise to you in the beginning. The only reason why I am so dialed in now, I know what results are possible, is because I've been shredding on and off for 10 years. So I know if I just reduce this and I add this and I do this, this will happen. But the only time people get disappointed is when they expect their results to be better than the effort that they have put in. But the one thing you never want to do is get to the end and say, I wish I had done this. I wish I hadn't have slacked on the training. I wish I hadn't have missed the cardio. I wish I hadn't have changed the meal plan. That's actually worse. Regret is worse than not getting the results. And that's quite often what I have to deal with whenever I chat with people about this. It's not them not getting the results. It's the regret that they didn't do everything they could or should have. And so if you don't let yourself off the hook and you really commit to making sure that this is, you do the best you can do, you show up to the coaching calls, you plan and schedule everything into your diary, everything into your calendar. So when you're training, you're looking at your calendar going, shit, I've no time to train tomorrow. I'll have to get up at 4 a.m. and do it. You get up at 4 a.m. and you do it, right? Yeah, if you plan everything in advance, you'll always get it done. You have to take it seriously. Treat it like a job for the next 8 weeks. And then at the end of it, you'll be like, let's see what happens. Let's see what I've got. That's the best way that you can manage your expectations. Cheryl Smith, will there be a refeed day like previous ButtCamp challenges? No, there won't be a refeed day, and I'll tell you why. Because the calories are starting quite high. 1,500 calories, believe it or not, with free food is quite high, and we're doing those for 4 weeks. You get a refeed meal if you feel you need it. What is the meal? Whatever you want. So eat a refeed meal, a little bit of whatever you fancy, one night a week. So let's say it's a Saturday night or a Friday night. Let's say you enjoy going out for dinner with your family and you want to have a glass of wine and a pizza, knock yourself out. Okay. So if you feel you need it, one day a week, you get one refeed meal. Only if you feel that you need it. Will you get better results if you don't have it? Yeah, of course, because it's calories. But if you feel like you need it emotionally and physically, then you can rock on and have it. Lucy Garcia, is there going to be a meal plan to follow or can I follow my own? You can do either. There will be a meal plan, vegan and non-vegan, or you can follow your own. No problem at all. I've been doing carb cycling and it's been working so well for me. I'm not sure how dropping too low on calories again would work for me since I've realized I've been under eating for so long. Once I carb cycled, my body changed. On my high days, I eat 17 to 1800, and she goes through all the details. Lucy, I don't know anything about carb cycling. I've never done it. I've never studied it. I've never coached anyone doing it. But if it's working for you and you're getting consistent results, losing body fat consistently or whatever your goal is over a period of time, then you can rock on and you can keep on with your carb cycling. Tazia Reid, curious when you will host the first workout. I can't wait. So the first workout will go live it's due to start Monday, September 15th, but I will put it up on Sunday, September 14th, because obviously our Australian customers are waking up earlier. Their Monday starts on our Sunday. So it'll go up on Sunday, and that's when the first workout will go live, and then it will continue from there. Will there be a replay of this live Q&A? Catherine's asking. Yes, there will. She's also asking if the only way to fit everything in is to do the workouts early in the morning followed by cardio. Is that the best sequence, or do cardio first? Doesn't really matter. Do whatever feels good to you. If you were doing them together, I would definitely do the workout first and then the cardio after. But if you feel like you want the cardio to warm up first and that's going to, make you work harder, you can rock on and do that instead. Maria Cruz, when will we see the workout and meal plan I purchased yesterday? So it's not going to be available until the 4th of January. But if I have them ready sooner, I will. I said to my designer today that I would love to try and have everything ready by Friday, by the end of the week, for you guys who have purchased early. So that's what I'm aiming for Friday. But if we don't get it on Friday, it will be very latest Thursday the 4th. But I'll try and get it to you as quickly as I can. Kelly Bosch, will the comp be in the app or on the Facebook group or links? I'm just wondering, will we get an email with everything in it and a link to submit pics on the website, or will it all be contained in the app? Which brings me to question 2. If it's all via the app, will we also have to pay for the app in addition to paying for the program? So no, Kelly, it's not in the app at all. The Sculpted Menopause is completely separate to the Sculpted Vegan. Although they're both owned by me, the Sculpted Menopause is a separate product, separate company, separate set of everything, okay? Separate website, everything. So this program is being run under the Sculpted Vegan, completely separate to the Sculpted Menopause app. This will not be in the app. It will not be run as part of the app, nothing. So you won't have to buy the app in order to access the program. Secondly, how will it all be sent? So we're building a customer hub, a really simple customer hub. As soon as it's ready, we'll send you a link that will take you to the customer hub. It will have the welcome email. It will have all of the meal plans, with little pictures you can click. It will have the supplements. It will have the link to upload your pictures, which you won't do until the very end, FYI. It will have the competition rules. It will have everything that you need. So it'll all be in a hub, and then you get access to that forevermore, yours to keep. Mia Widstrand, my goal besides getting a non-flat butt is to get stronger for my sailing races. I mainly need stronger in my back and core. If I want to train 2 days at the gym, then a good choice would be one of the glute or leg days and the back day. So no, Mia, if you want to train in the gym, then I would say do the 2 upper body days in the gym and do the lower body glute workouts with me, because I promise you, you will get a better workout training with me than you will in the gym. Ex-professional bodybuilder and gym goer squatting massive amounts of weight. I have a better butt and better legs now than I did when I was in the gym. So do your 2 upper body days in the gym, but let me tell you, you could try the workouts at home, or go to the gym and use the dumbbells at the gym and do my follow-along workouts at the gym. I promise you will be surprised by just how effective they are. You will be shocked, in fact, by just how effective they are. Claire Gallagher, it may already been covered, but what equipment is needed for the home program, please, so I can get ready? So I did cover this at the beginning, Claire, and it's just a booty band or a couple of booty bands, and I would say minimum 3 sets of dumbbells, 5 pounds, 12 pounds, and maybe 22 pounds. If you wanted to grab, one heavier one for some of the rowing work for back, I would say get like a 55-pound dumbbell or something, or maybe slightly lighter, 44 pounds maybe. And that's really all you're going to need. Besides training 30 minutes a day, May Peters is asking, and food prep, how much time do we block in the agenda daily or weekly for Zooms or anything else? So there's only this Zoom on a Monday. And by the way, whenever in the past did you ever get me coaching a program in Zoom, like for $97 for 8 weeks? It just didn't happen, right? So hopefully you're all, and maybe that's why we've sold so many programs. People are like, oh, wow, this is so different. It's not all the coaches and Laura, who are amazing, by the way, but more just, it's like I am kind of at the helm of the company again, and I'm really enjoying it. So me on a Monday, 4 p.m., and then you have to block out 30 minutes for your follow-along cardio with me, and let's say 45 minutes in total for the workout. Because by the time you turn the video on, you watch me, I do the introduction, we do the workout, and then we do our little gratitude at the end. It's probably 45 minutes start to finish. So 45 minutes with me, 30 minutes for cardio, and that's all you're going to need 5 days a week, 30 minutes on day 6. And really, that's it. Like it's all, if you wanted to do extra cardio, extra walking or whatever, totally fine, rock on. But that's the minimal amount of time that you're going to need. And last question, Michelle Pinto, what is the clothing requirement for the before and after pics for this butt camp? There is not any clothing requirement and there never has been. So most people will do their photos in their bra and thong. And the reason why, or a bikini and a thong, the reason why they do this is because you really want to see your glutes, you know, the before and after of your glutes. If you have them covered by like a pair of shorts, and then afterwards, you're going to be like, oh my God, I have the best booty I've ever seen. I want to show it off. And then we're going to go, but we can't see your before booty. So remember, the worse it looks before, as much as you hate it, the better it is to show off the after picture. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who don't have it, many of you probably will have it because we used to give it away in previous programs and then we stopped. But we're giving away the bonus how to pose program. So actually I created it years ago. It was called How to Pose for Instagram. It was about how to take like an amazing photo for your Instagram account. But we used to give it away as a freebie whenever people purchased whenever they purchased our programs. So we're giving that to everyone as a bonus whenever they join this. And I might throw in some other posing bonuses and things because I'm feeling very generous at the minute. And you're also awesome. So yes, I think I also did another like tutorial with Laura. I think it was like a tutorial video. It was about 60 minutes long, I think. And it was like a whole posing video of how to make your body look amazing. So I'll probably throw that in as well, just I'm feeling very generous. And that's going to teach you how to stand in your after photos, how to, you know, bend your knees slightly, lift your butt, how to spread your lats, make your body look amazing. And I'll be giving loads of little like helpful videos and stuff through the workouts. I do like little mini posing classes during the workouts where I teach you how to spread your lats, how to turn on your biceps, how to, you know, make your body look amazing. And so I'll be doing those throughout the training videos as well, just sprinkling in little bits of posing. I just generally tend to chat whenever we're doing our rest periods. And it's really good fun and everyone's loving it actually. So I'll do that as well. So nothing is set in stone yet about no, nothing is set in stone about what you have to wear. Just, you know, your transformation is probably going to be epic. So you may as well take the really bad photos with all of your butt hanging out in all its glory. And then whenever you look at the after ones, you'll be like, oh my God, I had the most amazing butt ever. And I just want to show it off. And you'll be happy to show that before photo in the skimpiest underwear. But if you don't want to show it off in skimpy underwear, you don't have to. Totally and utterly okay. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome. I'm sorry I didn't get to any of the questions in the chat. I could see loads of them flicking up, but make sure next week, if you want to ask a question, you look for the graphic, which is going to be posted on a Friday. Although I'm actually just thinking we probably could just post it like today and then, or tomorrow, and then, you know, collect the questions throughout the week, because sometimes a question comes up and you're like, oh, I'm going to post that on the Q&A. So we'll post the graphic tomorrow for next week's Q&A. And I just want to say before we go, thank you so much for pre-purchasing. Like, I can't believe it. There's literally a page which was like ButtCamp, purchase here. Like, there's no details. There's nothing about the program. There's nothing, but you guys are all just like, Kim's doing it. I'm in, you know? And that just really, you've no idea how touching that was to me, that you guys all just like jumped in head first, no data, no nothing, trusted me to just deliver you a kick-ass program and take care of you. And I just want to tell you how much it means to me that you all did that and how much I appreciate each and every one of you. And I don't take it lightly that you chose me. And I don't take it lightly that you're all here, you know, flying the flag and doing the thing and still invested in the Sculpted Vegan, because I am definitely still invested in all of you guys. So I'm so happy that you're here and thank you so much. Just wanted to say that before we go. Okay, we're going to send out the recording. We're going to upload it privately to YouTube and then send out the recording link and probably put it in the Facebook group for anybody who joined late or didn't get the start of the Q&A and wants to go back and watch it. For those of you who've been here the whole time, thank you so much. For those of you who've joined late, thank you so much. For those of you watching the replay, thank you so much. And I will see you all next week at 4 p.m. for another live Q&A. Okay? Sending you all a big hug and a big kiss. Thank you so much for being here. Take care. Bye, guys. Love you all so much.